to the august audience.
வணக்கம் வணக்கம் சொல்லலாம்ல our professor and teacher. Good morning to all. I have great pleasure and honor in being part of this 132nd Founders Day celebration of Ethiraj College for Women as one of the members of the board governing the college. I am really blessed to be associated with this noble and visionary journey initiated and fully enabled by the divine gestures of Sri V.L. Ethiraj 74 years ago. This year's Founders Day assumes great significance as we step into the 75th year of the glorious function of this reputed institution. On this special day, I am honored in welcoming our chief guest, Professor Dr. T. Ramaswamy, former Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, and currently Distinguished Professor of Eminence at Anna University, Chennai. Special welcome is also due to Thiru Madhavan Pichai, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India. As the guest of honor today, fittingly so because he has a unique distinction of having worked as a junior to our founder, Sri V.L. Ethiraj, a legendary Indian barrister, one of the all-time criminal lawyers. In absentia, we miss Mrs. Chandra from here. It is my pleasure and privilege. In absentia, I welcome our third person, Mrs. Chandra Tanigachalam, an acclaimed social activist and child welfare specialist, who has been ably and efficiently guiding all of us in managing the affairs of the institution. In absentia, I also welcome Dr. Vittal, a senior most member in our board. Both of them couldn't join because of some other circumstances. I also welcome our former chairman, Engineer Muralidharan, here amidst us. His presence always gives enthusiasm and then zeal to work more and more because of his involvement in this college. I also welcome all the members of the board, especially our financial trustee, Mr. Sridharan, our principal and secretary, Dr. Godema, vice principals, Isaac and Usharani ma'am. I also welcome the former board members, former principals, former faculty for their gracious presence and their keen interest in paying tributes to the founder. Let me also joyously and sincerely welcome the faculty, staff and students who stand testimony and prime reason for all the accolades this college is able to reap. Thank you very much. You know very well our ranking, our standing in the national level. So it's all because of you. We salute you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am also given a pleasant task today to introduce the two guests amidst us. But really, frankly speaking, I feel in my position minuscule and highly humble to do such an introduction of such stalwarts sitting here amidst us. It's a really honor and fortune that they are here. Dr. Thirumalachari Ramaswamy is in two sense a technologist turned scientist, a scientist turned civil servant, a civil servant turned now preacher of scientific technologies and values. So his preachings on this is really highly valuable to every one of us. He holds both bachelor's and master's degree from University of Madras, from the portals of Ragappa Chettiar College of Technology, which is a similar institution like this, founded and charioted by another great visionary there. He obtained his doctoral degree in chemistry from the University of Leeds, UK. He has also worked on energy research in Thames Laboratory, Iowa, USA, and on electron transport phenomena in the Wayne State University, USA, prior to returning to India. Of course, in between, he was also in New South Wales for undertaking his scientific career. He joined the Central Leather Research Institute, popularly known as CLRI, CSIR Laboratory, Chennai, as a scientist and served as its director for more than 10 years during the period 84 to 2006. His leadership of CLRI gained for the institute global recognition in leather research, and his contribution in strengthening academic research and industry partnership in leather sector are well known to all of us. The institution earned a global leadership status as evidenced by the 30% global share of the publications, greater than 7% share of global patents, positions in fashion forecasting, and the level of public-private partnership built in leather research. Noteworthy is to state with folded hands is that his natural wisdom and clear insight about the problems presented to him helped to save lakhs of jobs, around 66,000 crores annual turnover, and around 3,500 crores of annual export in a moment of crisis. What happened is, he is credited with a mass effort by over 900 tanneries of Tamil Nadu going green in just about 18 months. Otherwise, all of them would have been closed by now, giving a lot of hardship to all the employees and all those nations. But that way, he has contributed a lot and by that effort. So really, we are thankful to him on that matter. He was one of the longest serving secretaries in the government of India. During his period as secretary, Department of Science and Technology, he has introduced several new programs and mechanisms for R&D funding and many novel schemes. Many of the universities would have been poorer and poorer, but for our vision and ideas of our Ramaswami, because the Inspire, which has emerged as a game changer in attraction of talent to science, first focused on regeneration of research in Indian universities, because both of them, like Nana University, we are, able to get some bit money funds and then to go forward. Many of the institutions all over India have utilized these projects and have got a lot of funding both for equipment purchase and also for furthering their own research. The establishment of Science and Engineering Research Board aimed at deep bureaucratization of R&D funding. Actually, they are the two indicators of the directional changes in science landscape of India with which he was closely associated. He was a major contributor to the formulation of science, technology, and innovation policy of India. His research interests span wide range of topics and contributions. They are in diverse areas of sciences. He has published more than 250 scientific papers, filed over 50 patents, and developed 12 process know-hows. But these numbers, they keep swelling because he has not put his papers. He is still very active, still guiding, still giving ideas and visiting many universities. So that way, his numbers are not the final numbers. Several technologies developed by his group are in extensive commercial use in the country. That's most important. See, research or publication or patent has no meaning unless you commercialize and then put it to use for the society. So that way we are indebted to Ramaswami because all his research are only goal-oriented and the purpose-oriented. So that is why we are really happy. Among the numerous honors so such a person automatically, obviously should have been splendid or showered with awards and honors, right? So a few of them are. Among his numerous honors, Dr. Ramaswami was awarded the Shanti Swarao Bhatnagar Prize for Chemical Sciences in 1993, Padma Shri in 2001, and other than that, Padma Bhushan in 2014. He is an elected fellow of Indian National Science Academy, Indian Academy of Sciences, National Academy of Sciences of India, Indian National Academy of Engineers, and the World Academy of Sciences. He is currently a member of ABUO, Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, and honorary professor in many of the universities in our country. And today, we have actually requested him to perform dual duty. One, to inaugurate the Ethiraj Center for Research, Innovation and Creativity, which we proudly call ECRIC, which was initiated on 16th April 2016 to foster and promote research environment in the college by motivating faculty and students to undertake basic, applied and interdisciplinary research, leading to quality publications and emergence of innovative and creative ideas. So, we started in a small way, but now we have got a place for doing that. So that is what we will be inaugurating that center now today. We have also requested him, fittingly, as he is inaugurating the ECRIC, naturally his thoughts and ideas as part of the endowment lecture, which has been endowed by our former chairman Muralidharan. So he will also be delivering that lecture. Welcome, sir, and we are extremely thankful, honored by your acceptance for your doing this. I am also privileged to introduce our guest of honor, Mr. Ramaswami-18th, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, amidst us today. This legal luminary graduated in economics from University of Madras before his degree in law. He obtained actually this basic degree was with distinction. He has descended from a renowned family of advocates and judges. His grandparents were late M. Patanjali Shastri, former Chief Justice of India, and late S. Satyamurthy, the great parliamentarian and veteran freedom fighter and Congress stalwart. So you can just see the descendants. So, his father was Sri S. Pichai, a senior advocate and doyen dealing with criminal cases in the Madras Bar. Madhavan Pichai sir is currently practicing in Supreme Court of India and all high courts of the country. He has appeared and won many important landmark cases. He has worked with almost all legal luminaries of the country or Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of Ireland has placed on record his valuable suggestions towards amendment of its constitution. So you can just see how knowledgeable he is. So look at the constitution and giving the amendments to the other country also. So we wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, to share your memories on the senior, whose noble soul is guiding and guarding us in all our academic services towards empowering the girls in this part of the country. So welcome, sir. At this great moment, let me take an opportunity to share with you about our great founder. Though he has given his entire wealth and ideas and thoughts to create this college, he never thought to press his ideologies into this, which is very well evident from the statutes he has created. He has kept it open so that everybody can come and contribute to this particular college. So that is most important. Every one of us, we have to be accommodative to everybody. Every section of the people we should carry forward wherever we are, as teachers, as students, as bureaucrats, as you are the service people, wherever you are. Please carry forward everybody with you. That is one thing which will give you the great respect from everyone. This is a lesson I have learned in my institution, which is 228-year-old university. So that is what I just want to give ultimately to you. And this is a great opportunity for me, as you can see, to be here and giving the welcome address today on this 132nd Founders Day of our great founder. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the warm words of welcome. Ethiraj College for Women is built upon the munificence and pioneering vision of the revered Ethiraj, has grown by leaps and bounds, making giant strides in its march towards excellence. In 75th Jubilee year, let us revisit the illustrious journey of this citadel of learning through the audiovisual aid. The dream of the legal luminary, real Ethiraj's women empowered through education. Shri Ethiraj is acknowledged as one of the most reputed advocates of the 20th century. He has been a miracle in this profession, was the compliment showered by his friends and his colleagues. The vision and quality policy, crafted with care and clarity, when he donated his wealth to the cause of women's education and empowerment during the 1940s, is notable and praiseworthy. His contribution to women's education has grown into Ethiraj College for Women. The college offers courses of study at the undergraduate, postgraduate, and research levels. Here, we are delighted to present this short film on the visionary, the Ethiraj.
Ethiraj's vision has been achieved. The women's education has taken a great leap from about less than 100 students. We have grown to more than 8,000 students, and a lot of facilities are there, a lot of faculty are there. So, in every respect, the vision has been achieved. Academic credentials of the college are very high, and it is one of the top-ranking colleges in the city. Mr. Ethiraj laid great emphasis on physical education, fine arts like Carnatic music and Bharatanatyam. But coming to Ethiraj's vision, I only quote what has been said. He said it is possible to combine the best of modernity and tradition and lead a comfortable, socially productive, and personally satisfying lifestyle. It is possible for our girls and our faculty members to have a proper mix of this thing so that the Ethiraj girls stand out differently from the other girls. I wish the college all success.
My 94-year-old father had transferred a lot of memories to me about Mama, as that's what was fondly called. And some of the things which impacted me in my life was the way, without ego, he had refused donations for charitable causes many times, where people used to wonder why this rich man did not give money. But at the end of the whole thing, they realized he had kept everything for one singular cause. His vision was women's education. His 12 years as the founder chairman was the base on which this temple was built. He actually has been a bundle of traditional value systems and modern approach to life. And this is something which actually would make any student follow him as a role model. He had a lot of affection for the faculty and other staff members. And year on year, at the end of the academic year, he used to have a Thanksgiving lunch, which he used to serve at his own home, and he used to serve himself. Such was the affection that he had. The faculty were all highly motivated, and that resulted in excellent student performance, which is a very nice and very warm, healthy relationship between management and the staff. And even today, though the family of staff is about 700 plus, we still have the tradition as the lunch hosted by the trust board members every year at the end of the academic year. Ethiraj College has contributed immensely through the alumni in all sectors, whether it is sports, where we've had international stars, whether it is fine arts, where we have Padma awardees, in legislation, we've had ministers, we've had members of parliament, we have had governors. We just have not stopped with that. We've had civil servants, we've had successful people in corporate, and in academics, we've had 3 vice chancellors. At this point in time, with the invisible guidance of our revered founder, I'm sure, like a banyan tree that has its roots far and wide, with the strength of our alumni, we are well poised for admirable progress in the years to come.
I was a student of Government College for Muslim Women from 1946 to 48. The same college was handed over to our revered founder, Sri V.N. Ethiraj. Hence, he started the college in 1948 with BA and intermediate courses. He introduced the tutorial system in the college and the Parent-Teacher Association, and new courses have been introduced in line with the technological development. Hence, I wish in future our college will become a premier institution in the field of education. At the time when Madras, Chennai, had only hardly 3 colleges, and this is the 4th college, a secular one to have come up in the very center of the city, and there was no need for any advertisement for the students to come. It is all about updating. It is all about upgrading. It is all about upscaling. All 3 have been achieved during the course of the years. I'm the luckiest person, luckiest principal of the college so far because it was the 100th year of Ethiraj that we were able to celebrate when I was principal. The Bharat Ratna M.S. Subbulakshmi, who sang the prayer song at the inauguration of the college in 1948, was also the same person who sang the prayer song on the birth centenary of Sri Ethiraj in 1991. Nobility of Ethiraj on this, after his birth centenary to his birthplace, when the trust board started an Ethiraj Matriculation School at Vellore, and now the small school strength of more than 5,000 students. We are very happy that we form part of Ethiraj College. The bondage is very secure and the bondage is very sensitive.
இத்திராஜ்ங்கிற ஒரு மாபெரும் மனிதர். தமிழையும் இசையும் அவருக்கு மிகுந்த ஈடுபாடு அதிகம். ஏன்னு சொன்னா இன்னைக்கு நீங்க பார்த்தா அவருடைய பிறந்த நாள்ல திருவருட்பார் ஒருமையோட திருவருள் மலரை நிறைக்கிற உத்தரவாத உறவு திருவருட்பார் பாடிட்டு இருக்கேன். நான் ரொம்ப பிடிக்குமான பாட்டு. தமிழுக்கு 3 விழா உண்டு. தொடக்க விழா, கம்மன் விழா, மாலை விழா, 3 விழா வச்சிருப்பாங்க. அந்த காலத்துல ஒரு அப்பாயின்மெண்ட்ல தமிழ் துறையில மிஸ் இந்திரா ஒரு மேடம் இருந்தாங்க. பாலேஸ்லாம் சொல்றதை கல்லூரி பாடல் அந்த பாடல அவங்க எழுத வச்சு அவங்களே அதை இசையும் கொடுத்து கைக்கு அந்த பாட்டு கல்லூரியில தொடக்க விழா எல்லாத்தையும் ஒன்று கிரியேட் பண்ணிருக்கோம். ரொம்ப அருமையான பாடல். ரொம்ப அப்ரிஷியேஷன். அப்புறம் காலேஜ் டேல இவங்க நாடகம் போட வழக்கம். தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும் அவருக்கு. தமிழ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் மியூசிக் பண்ணிட்டு இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு மனுஷனா ஏற்படுத்தப்பட்ட காலேஜ்ல நாங்க வேலை செய்யறோம். இன்னைக்கு அவரால் கொடுக்கப்பட்ட அந்த தமிழத்தை வாழ்ந்தது கொண்டு ரொம்ப பெருமையாகவும் ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சியாகவும் இருக்கு.
I have worked in this college for 37 long years, but I have never felt long. Dear Ethiraj donated his entire life savings of 10 lakhs and 2 bungalows and founded this institution. Today, Ethiraj College stands as a magnificent center of learning with offering several courses in humanities and arts, science and technology, and commerce streams. We used to read a long list of prize winners, that is, the students obtaining within the first 10 university ranks. College has a very good NCC wing. Some of our NCC cadets had participated even in the Republic Day celebration, and roughly 70 to 80% of the students who registered the placement set get appointment in reputed companies. We were able to work very well together to bring up the college.
Aim of women empowerment. Women empowerment to promote the well-being of the society. The college always believes in empowering its young students, not only to achieve their materialistic goals, but also the coveted goal of well-being, a sustainable goal of development in the present times. The positive leadership at multiple levels and the positive practices that have been integrated into the well-thought curriculum have led to the desired outcome of holistic development as visualized by the great noble founder Sri V.N. Ethiraj. I feel proud and I deem it a privilege to have been associated with this esteemed institution as a student, as a faculty of the English department and as an administrator.
இக்கல்லூரியின் தற்போதைய முன்னேற்றங்களுக்கு காரணமாய் இருந்து வரும் அறக்கட்டளையின் நிதி ஆய்வாளர் திரு ஸ்ரீதரன் அவர்களுக்கும், தலைவர் திருமதி சந்திராதேவி தணிகாச்சலம் அவர்களுக்கும் மற்றும் முதல்வர் செயலர் முனைவர் எஸ் கோதை அவர்களுக்கும், துணை முதல்வர் எய்டர் முனைவர் திருமதி உஷாராணி அவர்களுக்கும், துணை முதல்வர் முனைவர் உஷா பிரியா அவர்களுக்கும் எங்களது சிறந்தாழ்ந்த வணக்கங்கள். எத்திராஜ் கல்லூரியுடன் இணைந்திருக்கும் ஒவ்வொரு மாணவியருக்கும் ஒரு வேண்டுகோள். மாணவியரே, உங்களுக்காக, உங்கள் குடும்பத்திற்காக மட்டுமின்றி நம் தாய் திருநாட்டிற்காக, இக்கல்லூரிக்காக உங்களுக்கான ஒரு அடையாளத்தை விட்டுச் செல்லுங்கள். இதுவே இம்மாபெரும் மனிதருக்கு நீங்கள் செலுத்தும் உண்மையான அஞ்சலியாகும். வாழ்க பாரதம், வளர்க எத்திராஜ் மகளிர் கல்லூரி. ஜெய்ஹிந்த்.
I am sure that the audiovisual video took us to the incredible journey that this college has traversed over the course of more than 7 decades. I call upon the students of the Fine Arts Club of Ethiraj College to render the favorite songs of the founder.
திருமலரடி நினைக்கின்ற முத்தமத்தம் உறவொன்று பேசுவார் மறுபு பெண்ணாசையை மறக்கவே வேண்டும், உன்னை மறவாதிருக்க வேண்டும். மறி வேண்டும் கருணை வேண்டும், மறி வேண்டும் கருணை வேண்டும். நோயற்ற தர்மமிகு சென்னையில் கந்தகுட உள்வளர் கலமோது கந்தவே கண்முகல் துய மணி உள்முகல் சிவமணி, கண்முகல் துய மணி உள்முகல் சிவமணி. சண்முக தேவமணியே, சண்முக தேவமணியே, சண்முக தேவமணியே. பெற்றதாய் தன்னை மகமறந்தாலும், பெற்றதாய் தன்னை மகமறந்தாலும், பிள்ளையை பெறும் தாய் மறந்தாலும், பிள்ளையை பெறும் தாய் மறந்தாலும். உற்ற தேகத்தை உயிர் மறந்தாலும், கட்டனெஞ்சகம் கலை மறந்தாடும் கட்டனெஞ்சகம் கலை மறந்தாடும் இமை பல மறந்தாடும் இமை பல மறந்தாடும் நற்றவர் நவர் உள்ளிருந்தோம் நற்றவர் நவர் உள்ளிருந்தோம் நம சிவாயத்தை நால்வரமே நம சிவாயத்தை பொய்யேனும் சொல்கிறேன் வெளியே புகழ்கின்றேன் பொய்யேனும் சொல்கிறேன் வெளியே புகழ்கின்றேன் மனித சமயம் வழக்கெல்லாம் ஆய்ந்தது மனித சமயம் வழக்கெல்லாம் ஆய்ந்தது வர்ணாசிரமமேனும் மயக்கமும் சாய்ந்தது வர்ணாசிரமமேனும் மயக்கமும் சாய்ந்தது கொதித்த லோகாச்சாரம் கொதிப்பெல்லாம் பொழிந்தது கொதித்த லோகாச்சாரம் கொதிப்பெல்லாம் பொழிந்தது கொலையும் கடவுளை வெள்ளையும் மழைந்தது கொலையும் கடவுளை வெள்ளையும் மழைந்தது இது நல்ல கருணை அது செய்ய ஒரு நல்ல நடவல்ல உன்னியரை கேளும் இது நல்ல கருணை அது
Thank you, students, for the beautiful rendition. Ethiraj Center for Research, Innovation and Creativity, in short, ECRIC, was instituted to foster research culture among the faculty and students and promote publication and innovation with impetus on the intellectual property rights. ECRIC is ably governed by the Ethiraj Trust Board as the apex body, with an advisory committee consisting of the chairperson, financial trustee, 2 board members, principal, vice principals, and the dean of research. Ethiraj Center for Research, Innovation and Creativity provides the forum, the facility, and the fund to nurture research. I invite Padma Bhushan, Dr. T. Ramaswamy, former Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, and Distinguished Professor of Eminence, Anna University, to inaugurate the Ethiraj Center for Research, Innovation and Creativity. Thank you, sir. In this 75th Jubilee year of college, we dedicate the Ethiraj Center for Research, Innovation and Creativity to our founder, Ethiraj. I now request Padma Bhushan, Dr. T. Ramaswamy, to deliver the founder, Ethiraj Endowment Lecture, instituted by Muralidharan, former chairman, Ethiraj College Trust.
I can speak that. What is that? Okay. I'm not planning. No problem. The guest of honor, the Madhavan Vijay, my dear friend, who complicated my life by introducing me manners which I don't believe I can live with. Mr. Dr. Shekhar, Tilmudi Tenikachalam, the principal, Dr. Kodai, the man who controls the finance, Sridharan, members of the trust, Usharani, Priya, faculty, staff, students, I would say my sisters and daughters. My life becomes simpler. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to be here with you today on a very important occasion. Of course, my friend was saying was supposed dual function of inaugurating this ECRIC, which is primarily focused on research, innovation, and creativity. Creativity, of course, those of us who have been in the biology, we talk about DNA, Crick and Watson. But I think it's MECRIC, which is one step higher than the Crick and Watson story. It's a pleasure that I have been part of this innovation process, and I thank you for this opportunity. Wherever you go, you find some connections. It turns out, the year 1948, this college was born. I was also born the same year. What coincidence. And the 75th year of this institution is a turning point of the situations in many respects. Therefore, this year attains its significance. Not only because that we are setting up this center, we are also observing the 75th year of India's independence, which is a much larger goal. And we are talking about celebrating innovations. I came into this hall, I found two portraits on either side of the walls. One is Mahatma Gandhi, other is Ethiraj. And I was asking myself, when we are creating this innovation center, okay, what is innovation? Innovation is truly an idea that has not been put to use before. The first use of an idea is what this innovation is all about. People like me who have been in this government for many years end up confusing talking about innovation because the scientist speaks innovation, we think all innovations are scientific. No. There's a huge amount of social innovations that are relevant. And I would ask the question to myself, what have been the major contributions that came from this country as innovation system? I believe that non-violence as a principle to acquire independence for this country was an innovation of the tallest order. So Gandhi was at one side, the greatest innovator who got independence from the colonial part by the methodology, which has spun out of the spiritualism that was inherent in this country before, whether it was Buddha or Mahavir. But I think he is on one side. The other side is Mr. Ethiraj. He is an innovator. The formation of Ethiraj College in 1948 is the most innovative step at the time. What's the question? Why would this man, as my friend Mr. Muralidharan was saying, he had all the money for one cause. And we think it is the formation of this college which was the cause, the gender parity. So primarily, I would like to present today the Founders' Day address, what I call social innovations, as a gender parity in nation building as the Founders' Day address for this process. If you look at this, you know the history, it was founded in 1948. It was a revolutionary change of thought order at that time. And we look at the data that will reveal to you how revolutionary was that at that point of time. I'll present some data during the process. We had a misaligned social order. Okay. We declare Saraswati as the goddess of education and Lakshmi as the goddess of wealth and make Nala the best cook in the world. But we worship God, but we don't feel her. I think this problem was truly the women education was, of course, an issue of the time. My own sister, who passed school final in 1957, and she was the daughter of one of the senior civil servants in the town. And the local college discovered she was a district rank holder and came to my father and asked my father to put her in college. And my father asked, how many girls are there in your college? And the principal said she was the first one. That was the end of my sister's college education, 1957. That was truly a misaligned social order. And creating social values by investing into women education was the purpose for the institution was done. And talked about educating a woman is to educate the family itself, it's not the individual alone. And empowerment, the word used by many of you, is focused. And I think this balancing act of gender parity is truly the cause for which this entire health of this individual was protected and saved and invested in this process. And Maitri could feel blessed to talk about such an individual to really look for a cause far beyond its time, born with the earth. It turns out this 18th of July happened to be his birthday. So we are observing the 132nd birthday of this man, philanthropist, truly, really an innovator in spirit, the lead investor in the women education at the time. Generosity is the value, and Ethiraj College was really a forerunner, established in the year 1948. I think an innovator invested into hope. any investor, in innovation, without being the first act, no precedence. Therefore, anybody who invests into this innovation system, they're investing into hope, not on returns. And I think he invested into hope and they invest into costs. And the cost is the enterprise. And of course, because of the fact that they found endowment speaker this year who holds a BTech and a master's degree in technology, the college decided to make me speak on technology and innovation. Therefore, I would want to talk about this technology innovation. Both deal with ideas. Technology deals with ideas, innovation deals with ideas. But there's a difference in this process. And I believe there are two sides of a coin in the development of a nation. The two sides of the coin, very many times don't meet each other, as you know. They are on the opposite sides. And you need to ask the question, what are the differences between the technology and innovation? Technology is primarily a proven idea. It's a useful knowledge. Add value to raw materials. If we went back at the time of independence, Pandit Nehru's systems, he would talk about technology as the root of change of development of this country. And the CSIR and all this institutional form because of the technology being this important system. And technology is considered as a tool which adds value to raw materials through investments of labor and capital. Therefore, it is market driven. Any technology, economic viability is the key. If it's not viable, it's not possible. And any technology today is a bankable project. You can go to a bank and say, I'm going to invest in technology, they will assess it, appraise it, and because it's a known idea, people have done, they walked the path before. It is possible to make an assessment and then say that, okay, we make the investment, and therefore it's available banking finance. Innovation is a different thing. It is not a usable knowledge, it is not a useful, but a usable. Not yet proved. Usefulness is not yet proved. Therefore, it is a usable knowledge, usable idea. It can have significant values, not necessarily economic value alone, the social value. And the formation of Ethiraj College in 1948 wasn't an act of innovation. It was not calculated for how much return, how much profit the individual will get. It is create a social innovation, it's a social value. Not primarily it's a competition driven in this world of area. It is also the tremendous risk of failures. Okay. In fact, my idea's success rate is 5%. So I would tell you that ideas are easy to provide. Actions are more hard. And as a former director of the Mitchell Institute, Chandrasekhar is sitting here. He was my former student. And if you ask him, really, this man has no work to do. He keeps on giving ideas, but very few of them work. But that is the value of this process of innovation. And it needs philanthropists. It needs people who are not looking at risk. They're looking at if it succeeds, what will happen. Not a question of if it fails. The banker asks the question, if the technology fails, what will happen? But Mr. Ethiraj did not ask the question, the Ethiraj college fails, what will happen? No, he said, if it succeeds, what will happen? Therefore, the entire process itself is different. And that is the role of innovation is yet to be proven. So, pride and prejudice of technology, I would like to flash with this today. The technology made enormous values to people. The 20th century can be called a technology century. And 20th century is really a century which made very things happen. And if you really take this word antibiotics, that changed the world at par. Then we have this, I don't think any one of these girls here today can live without a mobile. The communication has become so system, and without a mobile, they will have no mobile. Primarily, the next generation technologies, both of them happened in this 20th century. But all of us who speak champion for technology must remember, there's nothing in the world without problems. There is a two sides to everything. Therefore, it's a positive, there will be negative too. The technology could play the role of social, both the social divider and the bridger. Until, I don't know how many of you are aware, in 1750, 28% of the world economic product was Indian. 48% world economic, particularly in China, 48%. Okay? At that time, nobody called India a developed country. But the technology revolution happened in the 70s. India did not absorb those processes, and suddenly India became a developing country, and some countries called it developed. So what is the development is all about? It's access to technology. So the world has come to be divided as a developing and developed because of this technology change that happened. And the technology that we adopted in this post-industrial revolution era were provide economic change, but this is sustainable. This question was never asked. I studied in 21 schools, and one of them was Ramanathapuram Raja's High School. And I remember this teacher, my name is Sabadare, whom I consider as my second mother. I would like to acknowledge her. She was my history teacher, not a science teacher. But I called her an educator, not a teacher. It turns out she was teaching me Industrial Revolution, James Watt's steam engine. I got up and asked the question, what energy efficiency of James Watt's steam engine? She said, you're asking questions in science, I don't know the answer, but I'll tell you tomorrow. So the next day, 4 o'clock, I went to the staff room. She said, Arey Baba, your science teacher also doesn't know the answer. Then she took me to the principal. The principal was a maths teacher, Raja, a very famous person. And he said 15%. And I said, what is the 15%? You take the room temperature 30 to boiling, 100 degrees, 70 degrees Kelvin, put it, you add it, and then you do a latent heat for conversion of the boiling water to steam, and then you convert the steam into a mechanical force, and how to get 15%? Then the principal came and shuffled my hair and said, I thought I'd give you the answer, you go, but I also don't know the answer. But they sent, believe me, this teacher told the principal, you can't send this boy without convincing answers. His inquiry needs to be addressed. They sent a teacher from Ramanathapuram to American College to work out a sheet and give me an answer a couple of days later. Therefore, this question I'm sharing with you today is because the technology revolution that happened did not address this question of material balance, energy balance, and that's a consequence of climate change today. Therefore, what happened 200 years ago in the technology absorption process, we have led to a climate change that we are talking about reversing consequences. But having said this, the technology also has been able to serve the divide, bridge the device within men and women, bigger segments, and society at large in many different cases, in some cases. Therefore, there are two sides to everything. Technology has two sides to it. And I'm presenting to you today, this is a plot which I prepared to put in the divide. What I have done, these days if you go to some place and don't talk about COVID, that means you are saying you're very out of the You're not contemporary in time frame, so you want to talk about COVID. So this one slide and talk about COVID. Basically what you see here is a plot of the COVID case burden of the world, okay, against the gross domestic product of each country in PPP terms, in purchase power parity terms. Under the color coded, there's a nice little maroon color, that is America, up in there. America has a lead everywhere, good or bad, doesn't matter. And America, if it is a very powerful democracy, we are the largest democracy. If America does something, we must also follow. The green is India. The number 2 is India. And looking at these processes, what it conveys to you, some kind of a quantitative correlation between the economic processes which are in the GDP and the spread of the disease. And the size of each bubble is the density of mortality, how many people die. The y-axis is number of case burden. The x-axis is GDP on purchase parity terms. And the bubble size is the number of people who die. Okay? The world is not common. There's so much diversity, but at least COVID made everybody equal. And it went and hit the developed countries ahead. And I'll show you the story of the process of technology. The coronavirus of 2019 defined the world An infectious disease particle regard is not past story. Microorganisms, okay, do not differentiate between the rich and the poor, man and woman. It is done to everybody. And the world remains challenged. And nature, Tennyson said, nature treats man alike. I think coronavirus also treats everybody alike. People with the lower immunity suffered. Who suffered the most? Immediately after this happened, we said Prince Phillips, Prince Charles. Prince Charles got it. Then suddenly Prince Charles, recognizing the problem of anti, he started doing Vanakam, no handshake. What was taught to us when we were young, okay, the spread of common cold is easily done by handshake. So they do this by doing this system. And suddenly Prince Charles was doing this. That's a technology, of course, being proposed. It is important. Many technology platforms are explored. Vaccines were developed in one nation, vaccines were developed in Oxford, but manufactured in Hyderabad, Pune. And case for collaborative models of technology management became strong. Therefore, there's something that virus system starters, which we should be happy for. Let me say a real case of technology playing dual roles. I will tell you this. You see, how many of you know what was the life expectancy at birth at the time of independence? Well, we don't know, doesn't matter, under 45. And before these antibiotics came, the life expectancy of the world itself was 27. So the antibiotics changed the life expectancy of birth. Okay? And it turns out, because we will talk about technology, let person back and move on to the next piece. When, as you know, Fleming discovered 1928. But first time it was commercially produced in 1945. 17 years it took the idea to become a technology for the commercialization process. It turns out that my mother seemed to have got herself infected with typhoid at the time, 1945, and went very ill. And she was hospitalized for 8-9 months, and they didn't expect her that she would survive. But the fate was that she had survived. I had need to be born later, so she survived. But I believe she was protected because of penicillin. 1946, the family was rich enough, resourceful enough, and powerful enough to bring this penicillin from England. Today, the healthcare system is spread, but it is not spread equally. There are accessibility problems, affordability problems, and so on. Therefore, technology has two sides of the system, and I'm going to share with you. See, I have been called as a technologist, and I have to show that I have done some technology which is useful. And my friend Jagar also written exaggerated some things. So I need to share with you. You see, since he talked about technology, it turned out that I went to St. Joseph's College in Trichy and finished in the top 10 in the state, in pre-university. I would have got admission anywhere. But I decided to join leather technology in 1964. And my father, I had admission in engineering college, but I decided to go to leather technology. And my father was at that time in the Vellore district, not far from where your founder was. He was the revenue division of the JR. And I went and told him I got leather technology. He said, why? For what? Because he couldn't understand why would I do leather technology. Okay? And I had no way of convincing my father. Because fathers are not easy to get convinced. So am I. But it turns out, I had this wonderful sister who was then alive. She said something very profound. I wanted technology today became women's college. She was about 22 years old. And she said, the there is no such thing as Ucham, nature profession, Ucha profession. There is no such thing as profession, Nicham and Ucham. All professions are the same. And it turns out in our society, we look at leather as a kind of a lowly profession. And my brother will be a game changer. He will go back and convert that through technology into a profession which is equally strong as anyone else that we have found in the country. I come from civil Puttur and I come from a family of the temple goers. And she said at that time, he will do as much good to society through technology as your father did through his worship. And therefore, this real life case of the other sector I will share with you today. It turned out the story of leather dyeing the reader. Until 1972, the leather industry in Tamil Nadu was practicing a very old, ancient, what they call East India tanning method, cyclic process, and tanning process. 1972, we decided, no, we should not export raw materials, we should export people like we said in the policy, and we decided to bring technology. And brought this, in 24 years later, they found the tannery sector in balloon district had become unbearable. It exceeded the carrying capacity in the region. And it turned out 1996, the government of India appointed me as the director of the Leather Research Institute. On the same day, to repeat, the same day, the Supreme Court ordered closure of 400 tanneries in Tamil Nadu. They were waited for at least one more day. But we said technology is the solution for it. So we came back, we tell the industry people, don't do this, don't do that, don't pollutate, don't do that, don't is our goal. And we came back and said, do ecology solutions. Don't say don't do it, say do this. So the do ecology solutions were implemented in 9 months. My friend gave me 18 months, but board gave me only 9 months. So within 70 days, we did all this process. And today, I would like to share with you the tannery sector in Tamil Nadu practices zero liquid discharge. There is no wastewater which is flown out of tannery sector. They recover the water, do the reverse osmosis and reuse the water. And the reject also, they evaporate and have salt and other process. Therefore, technology will the way. And it happened. And no tank is working without being controlled resources. And it turned the zero liquid discharge became a guideline in 2017 in the United States. And 2020, it became a norm. But Tamil Nadu 2005, they have been practicing already. These are issues that I'm not going to details of those. These are the real, if I say that something is happening, I have to show that it does happen. Because these are the issues that reverse osmosis plants and so on, it happens. Okay. So the technology future, technology in post-industrial revolution led to intensive production, unsustainable consumption, and climate change is feared to have really aided by the unwise choice of technologies. Therefore, it's extremely important those of you who articulate technology do a wise selection. Yeah, technology by itself don't worship. It has to have a right choice. Why? We spoke at tanning industry in Tamil Nadu, the discharge number 17 years. I think what the leather industry in the state should do, not enough. Because even the zero liquid discharge is not sustainable because it uses energy. Therefore, there has to be a significant amount of energy, and therefore it is need to have net carbon neutral technology the way forward, and it will call for a much deeper understanding of the environmental and social governance. Environment and social governance, they're not separated, they're part of this. And therefore, I believe technology has to be a part of a social choice. And I set up a poem for it. Actually, the leather industry came to this country, came to the state of Tamil Nadu, because of this feud between the two Arcot Nawabs, the Sanda Sahib and Alauddin. And so happened that the weaker guy was made king thanks to Robert Clive and company. And that week, Nawab set up an equation with East India Company to collect all the raw hides and skins of the United India, from Peshawar to Pakistan to Malabar, and ship it to East India Company, England. Therefore, East India Company sent its troops in Tamil Nadu and rooted themselves to the feud of Arcot. They came to do business, but they started governing. So the UK spread her wings all powers across the nation, traded hides and skins from undivided India to the port of then Madras. And at the time of independence, 87% of the raw hides and skins exported from this country was from the port of Madras. That's why CLRI was located here. The nation at its infancy is said to get goals and anchor on the converting her natural wealth into wealth for people through addition of technology and capital. And Taras of Tamil Nadu excelled and made gains until they were punished with apex court for pollution. And they acted and wrote a new history in the world geography by embracing do ecology technology solutions while searching for sustainable path for carbon zero footprint. Technology, could it play a social element in the developing world? I mean, this is a question that we need to ask. So a technology child could play a social leveler in areas where a hierarchy separating professions high and low. And for instance, leather and footwear making profession were considered lowly in some social structures. I am not long ago, at the time I joined BTech in AAC College of Technology. That was 1964. So technology has made it possible for us to remove such social sentiments and make the profession attractive to many. And footwear manufacture today is fully mechanized and contributed women empowerment in Tamil Nadu to job creation for women. This is a company in Chennai, India shows. Okay. 98% of the jobs in footwear industry in Tamil Nadu are women. And the men are only having the job of carrying the lunch boxes to the women in places. And it turned out, because of the technology adoption in Vellore district, where that came from, there's a socio-economic assessment study done. 50,000 women who could not have got jobs elsewhere. They didn't go to Ethiraj college and study and so on. They went and worked in these industries. And because they were exposed, they sent the children to school. Therefore, the school enrollment increased in the state of Tamil Nadu during this particular state. Therefore, the major welfare or the job creation, 98% of the jobs are for women, and significant players in employment are women, and the school, the education process improved as well. There is a problem of pollution, but there's also a positive side of the social changes that happen in this leather industry, footwear industry. And I have said before, innovation is a commonly understood process. It is something new idea, and that's your definition you will find in dictionaries if you wish to have. It is not restricted to science and technology alone. Innovative mind is not restricted and feels free to think and explore fearlessly. I'm very pleased that you have called the Center for Research, Innovation and Creativity. And the creativity is one such activity of human mind that is not controlled by anything. Okay. Nobody could have been more poor than Subramania Bharati. Could poverty curtail his creativity? And Ramanujan was not nourished. But anything negative, did it curb creativity of Ramanujan? Therefore, fundamentally, creativity is an endowment of nature. The research and innovation are processes. And what we do is to nurture that creativity, which is endowed, through fostering by nature, and the center is about fostering. The creativity embedded in all of you by the creation of God is to be nurtured by this college and to facilitate it in the research and innovation process. And innovation comes with this chapter. Research and innovation, both are processes. Product technology is a product. The innovation is the process. Therefore, it turns out that the mind, innovative mind is never restricted and feels free to think and explore fearlessly. And that's the beauty of creativity in the process. When you talk about the scientific energy, leapfrog innovations from the country, matter energy, I don't know how many of you know, the first person who said nothing leaves the universe, matter is current to energy, energy is current to matter, was Gautama Buddha. E is equal to mc square was Einstein's equation. But it was said thousands of years ahead. Shumadhaita, ancient Sanskrit, the devices for plastic surgery were defined in the first century. And Aryabhatta, he is the person who said Earth is a globe. Okay. Not the Copernicus. Therefore, the question has not anymore. The metallurgy of zinc was developed in this country. The microwave communication was J.C. Bose. It is who said life has plan. And he demonstrated it. Nobody tries to enter Marconi. But before Marconi talked radio, J.C. was already done that. The closing the nuclear fuel cycle, your Dhoni Baba's right here. Original thing. What we don't realize is the fast breeder reactor sitting here in Blackbound. It's about 16.3 times more energy output than radio. And if we close the nuclear fuel cycle, the entire process becomes 594 times more efficient for radio. And that was the idea of Dhoni Baba for the world. 1954. Looking at this conceptual social side, major religions of the world came from here. 3 major religions came from here. Seeking unity in diversity. Use of non-violence as a principle for freedom. Matter of the Japanese constitution, Indian constitution were adopted at the same time. Indian constitution involved 5,800 people. We talked about Ambedkar. Ambedkar coordinated a huge process of discussions. And some scientists, some 20 guys sat in a 5-star hotel and wrote the Japanese constitution. So the manner in the Indian constitution was written is essentially a thoughtful process. That's the innovation. No country, repeat, no country in the world in the constitution talks about scientific temper as a citizenry duty. The only country talks about scientific temper as a duty is India, and India. Green and white revolution, they are not scientific. They are social innovations. Therefore, these are all indications of what India can do. Formation of Ethiraj College Women in 1948 is an act of institutional and social innovation to educate women as a pro bono act, not an act for return. At the time of the foundation of this college, the gross enrollment ratio, not men and women, we all together, was less than 1%, 0.7. Okay? Gender parity index was nothing to write your mother about, abysmally low. Institutions important higher education of Indian women exclusively were needed in the social cultural setting of India at the time of 1948. And later, when I'll tell you, in 1965, there was anti-Hindi agitation in the state of Tamil Nadu. I was the first leader. It turned out anti-Hindi agitation, all men colleges in this city, in the state went on strike. A3 college did not go on strike. They participated during this work, and the newspaper carried a message: the girls' colleges and the AC college worked. Therefore, the AC college had to go on strike for 1 day. Fundamentally, it was that kind of a situation that we are discussing today. With a much product innovation, much water has flown into the bridge of Ganges since then. This is the gender parity gap in literacy in this country. You can see how it is dropping, but it is still 82% men and 66% women at the literacy levels. Okay? And that's because the younger people are changing, it's the process, literacy rates are changing. I would like to share with you the year 2021, the number of girls who joined higher education exceeded the number of men who joined them. These are the data. In 1947, there were 20 universities, 500 colleges, less than 0.7%. 700 teachers in technical education in the entire country. Entire country had less than 700 teachers. Okay. And in 1950, one total number of people who went to college in the country is 1 lakh. Okay. In 2019, it's 3.1 crore. Okay. And 2021, it is 19. You can see 1.5 versus 1.50 male-female ratio. In 2021, girls have increased, have exceeded in the process. Further, post-graduate education comes down, but of course, we have to always test speak a little bit Tamil. Tamil is important, no? So Tamilians think that they are, everybody else is made by God, but Tamilians are made by super God. So Tamil Nadu has been the national education policy. My friend Ravi has drafted, talks about the 15% at 2035, but Tamil Nadu already improved to 2.4%. Okay. And gender parity in under education total in the state. Idea of established higher education 48 was important, and today, for 65% engineering and 70% medical institutions are in private sector. I talked about innovation. Somebody is going to ask, "Hey, you said all this, what have you done?" I have to go and do something. I asked my friend Murugan, Dr. Murugan, "Hey Murugan, why don't you publish some papers in good journals?" Murugan said, okay, sir, but what have you done? Therefore, I have to show that I also have done something. So I'll tell you what I have done. This innovation science person inspired research is an acronym for INSPIRE. Okay? And this is I'm supposed to inaugurate something under research. Okay? Research is done by people, not by equipment, not by infrastructure. Many times you forget, research is done by the people. Fundamentally, what you really require to our basic sciences and research is you require a policy for autonomy. Creativity requires autonomy. If somebody is controlling, no problem. And it was told here today that the statutes of this college gave you the functional freedom. Your founder envisaged the role of autonomy and did not curb you by saying, do what I ask you to do. Do what you need to do. That's what they expect in the process, and it requires infrastructure investment. It's a part of the infrastructure investment, but you require mentors. The most important part is mentors in research, and that is unfortunately a problem. We have more tormentors than mentors. That's a bigger problem. Then we have the youth. Fortunately, we have youth population. India has one great thing about this, we have large number of very young people. But among that, some are more talented for research than others. We have to identify the talented people and nurture them. And that is exactly what at national level we have done. So we did this scheme in 2006. I went to Delhi in 2006 as secretary, and we got the scheme cleared in 2008. And we had 3 components. We started from the age of 10. Why at the age of 10? Because at the age of 10, I want to be a scientist. Therefore, I said people start at that age. So at the age of 10, 10 to 17, 17 to 32, 20 to 32, 3 groups. Early education attraction, College for Higher Education, and the College for Higher Education is abbreviated as SHE, and assured opportunity in the career. I set up this with at that time 1918 crores for the first 5 years. Then we put together 4,400 crores in the scheme. What have we done in this? We announced 1 million science awards, combining all children in the high schools and middle schools of India. 100%, 4.75 schools in the country. Gave them a 5,000 rupee award. Asked them to take a project and go and participate in physical exhibition. Bring them 5-10% of them to state level, 5% to state to national level. Out of the first 1 million, we brought 3,600 children to Delhi, and it turns out they got 210 entries for the children age of 10-15 for patent rights. And all that at that time, 28 now become 29 because we not only populate, we also divide, and therefore Kalgana happened. then more than 90% of the schools were reached out. And the children who are getting the national scholarship, national systems were brought, and they have a team with the President of India. So the photograph that you see is 2 years of the children who have won this national awards at different places, given by Padma President, have a team with all of them. And this hall is open only for foreign visitors. They are open for these children. And the scheme is now named as Mana. It's continued in a different name, different avatar. And we said if you are top 10%, top 1% in the school final, and this is about 10th class, and we said you are science course in 11th and 12th, they are into the science camp in this country for a 5-day program, and we had all this 5,000 per year, and we have now set up 15,000 mentors to go into this science camp and interact with them, and we have something like Ramakrishnan, 70 Nobel Prize winners have participated in this process, and Venki Ramakrishnan has been participating every year in this process. And these are the activities that we have, and we have a scholarship for higher education, which is given to people in the top 1% of the school board, decided to a science course, basic sciences, mathematics, physics, life sciences, any college in this country. They are given 80,000 rupees scholarship for a period of 5 years to do MSc, BSc, MSc school. And it turns out this scholarship scheme has, and it's only we are the top 1% performer of this respective school board. Okay? 53% of those are girls in the system and 43 are ladies. And we have set up, if they are a top rank in any branch of science, medicine, education, veterinary, whatever, we said to a PhD get a full scholarship for 5 years to do a system. And if you have done a good PhD, we set up a 1,000 positions, contracted positions, the rank of a salary and assistant professor of an IIT, you can work for 5 years and we will assure to set the rank of 7 lakhs per year for 5 years. And we put 4,000 crores, and you can see this, and you can suddenly see that 53% in the scholarship level had dropped at 27%. It's a girls' college, you know the reason. I don't want to describe this. Now, the total number, so far, 1.6 million children have participated at 10 to 15. About 5 lakhs, or 4.1 lakh children have participated in summer camp. 1.3 lakh top rankers, top 1% performers have joined BSc, MSc in this country in different parts of India. And about 12,000 people who are top rankers in the master's level have enrolled for PhD in this country, and this is the total number of people who have joined. It's about 2.1 million people have benefited by the scheme, and you have here your entry levels are converting into a research is about 25 to 30%. Therefore, we believe in innovation in the science pursuit as a governmental process, as a nurturing process has happened through the scheme, and primarily for basic sciences. See, a pipeline of 1.3 lakh students. The total number of jobs you can create for scientists is only 10,000 per year. Because we don't have more jobs than that. Okay. So if you have 10,000 jobs and you have 1.3 lakh people coming in this particular stream, I think we have enough to raise the pipeline. So I look at this man, Ethiraj, as a forerunner of innovation. And he invested into the cause of gender parity. I think I later on I learned from Mr. Ramaswami-18th's biodata that he was not born as an aristocrat. He became an aristocrat. Some are born. I think he is from a reasonable family, and then they were involved in contractual jobs, and he turned out. And I said, on the 18th day of August 1890, in the fourth town of Vellore, Sri Ethiraj became a barrister for profession and entering the bar of the law degree from Dublin. It's interesting that we talked about my friend written something to change Ireland law, and you can connect the teacher-mentor relationship because he came from Dublin and Ireland get connected. And entered that the trust of the crown to be upon the first Indian public prosecutor. Okay? And that's a statement. First, any first is always difficult. for the public prosecutor, and it turned out that somebody had challenged him or something like that. I have become the prosecutor, not a persecutor. Therefore, that reveals the character of the man, made well the legal way, and spent it well on one of the most valuable causes, gender parity in a patriarchal society. So education was a tall order. In the cause was born Ethiraj College of Women at his age of 58. The millions invested into education, women out of conviction. It is not about how many lakhs he spent. Everything he had put in, and with a clean heart. I think the quality of intention, the quality of intent is more important than the value of money itself. And the gender parity is a part of nation's design, nature's design. Nature made men and women equal. Okay. Nature always kept the parity is identical. The chance of the world in Chettinad, there are guys who are supposed to go back and tell a woman whether to get a boy's child or a male child. I mean, a girl child. So they will give two different versions, one to ladies, one to men. One of them has the right, no? Yeah. Therefore, gender parity is a part of nature's design, and we invest resources in effort on empowering women is what truly walking along the path of nature as the noblest of causes. And I believe that's what we are today paying tribute to in this Progress Day. Gender parity in nation building is it truly is a common sense, because we spend money on educating women, and ask them not to do anything more for nation building is a crime by itself. Therefore, India is slipping. The sad part is I was preparing for this. On Saturday, the newspaper, The Hindu, carried a very disturbing editorial that India has slipped in the overall gender parity from an unenviable rank of 140 to 146 in a group of 150 nations in the last 5 years. And the reason has been that the anemia among women is at 58%. And that's a terrible, terrible news. We may have gained the higher education at the UG level of gender parity is a saving grace when we have the most serious problem with respect to health issues associated with women. And therefore, and while I summarize whatever I have said here, I'm going to leave with the request. Those of you are educated in Ethiraj College and higher education and so on, you understand the women's problem more than men do, particularly in the medical issues. I think it is one thing to ask the question, what has education done to us? I think what will your education do to other women who need similar classes? Therefore, if you look at this gender parity issue, there are two great souls in this country, Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi. They are superhumans. Look at Mother Teresa, what did she do? Charitable work, serving the poor, informative with her cause, love and care was truly her calling. Endued tirelessly for the deprived, spoke the language of the hearts. Language of the hearts. And traits, all these are traits of femininity. Love with care. Okay? And I said it publicly and I say it repeatedly today. All of us in the family did PhDs and whatever. We did in my but the most educated in my family was my mother who went to class 4. And Mahatma Gandhi focused on challenging the mighty British Empire with the force of non-violence, and we called it Satyagraha. That's a force by itself. Satyagraha, I don't think it's not a powerful force. And he fought tirelessly the social discrimination on the basis of man-made divides and spoke the language of the universal truth. He did not speak from the heart, he spoke the language of the truth. These traits are totally masculine. Therefore, there is a gender difference. Gender difference is the way nature decides. But what is important is a parity. What is important? To make man and men are truly equal partners in shaping the society. It's a composite. And the society divided roles. But I think the more important, the two genders make a composite pair that loses value without the role of the other. If men do not do what they are supposed to lose, women do not do what they are supposed to lose. Either way, you will lose. Therefore, this education is really at the foot of making this all clear to this and make this man and woman undivided composite pair. I think gender parity is a thought, and I would say Ethiraj made a philanthropic investment into higher education for women in a very patriarchal society as a whole at the time. It paid dividends in time. India made investment in Inspire, and I would place Inspire as a model after Ethiraj himself. And the Founders Day message: innovate and invest into hope. Okay? Not like a bureaucrat like me who worry about the results. And best wishes to the college for being a place in the years to come, and thank you all.
Thank you for your enthralling speech, sir. I welcome Thiru Madhavan Pichai, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, to share the fond memories of his association with the founder.
Most loved Padma Bhushan Dr. T. Ramaswami. Most loved chairperson Ethiraj. Though he is not physically present, I am sure that our heart and soul will be here watching these proceedings. Beloved financial trustees, Sridhar, trustees, Professor Vittal, dear Shekhar, Dr. Kripa Shankar, and Professor V. Bhushan, and most loved principal, Dr. S. Kode, Vice Principals, Dr. Bhushan and Dr. Bhushan P. Respected teachers and supporting staff, former chairpersons, Mr. Yang Swaminathan, I am sure you will be watching these proceedings now. So William Muralidharan is more than elder brother to me. Former trustees, former principals and vice principals and faculty members, beloved parents, alumni, and more importantly, dear students. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be here with you on this momentous occasion. There is a 132nd birth anniversary of our beloved founder, Sri Ethiraj. It was a surprise call on the other day when our beloved chairperson, Chandra Devi Terikachalam, asked me whether I was available on the July 18th. I said yes. It was followed by another question, whether I could be the guest of honor for this momentous occasion to share some thoughts and shed some reflections about our beloved founder. Initially, I was taken aback. I was surprised. But I agreed. I must say, I readily agreed. In the words of Oscar Wilde, the best way to overcome temptation is to yield to it. So I really was tempted and I yielded to it. I will not be before you today, but for my beloved father, late Sri S. Pichai, who was his apprentice and junior. My father, initially, he had his own apprehensions because after completing his law degree from the Madras Law College, he wanted to join the illustrious office of our beloved founder. But in those days, it was very, very difficult to get into the office of such eminent barristers like Bhushan Grant, Edwin Norton, Sri Ethiraj and the like. It was a dream of any law graduate. Moreover, they used to charge 4,000 or 5,000 rupees as premium to take anyone as a junior. But due to the great efforts of Justice N. Somasundaram, who was a junior of our beloved founder before the celebration, And Mr. A. Sivagaminathan was a brain trust of Mr. Ethiraj. And an act of providence, my father was very lucky to get into the office of a beloved founder. He was also very fortunate in the sense that our beloved founder charged only rupees 500 as a premium, as a special case for him. And he moved the enrollment and they presented him with a silk gown. To my limited knowledge, he was still having it in his possession. There was a galaxy of juniors in the office of Mr. Ethiraj during that time. There was Justice K. Subbarao, was the former Chief Justice of India, Justice P.S. Kailasan, who was the Judge of Supreme Court, Justice N. Somasundara, Justice R. Sadasivam, Justice P. Basi Reddy, Justice P. Jagan Mohan Reddy, who was former Supreme Court Judge. There was, of course, Justice K. N. Madalia, who later became the Law Minister for the state of Tamil Nadu, and of course, his grandnephew, Justice K. Narayan Murthy. Then it was A. Sivagaminathan and J. K. Damodar Rao. Yes, Govind Swaminathan was a former Advocate General for the state of Tamil Nadu, and of course, my father, Sri S. Pichai. I am a grandson of Sri Ethiraj. You may be surprised. In terms of profession, I am his grandson. Mr. Ethiraj, after completing his law degree in Dublin, Ireland, returned to Madras and joined the Madras Bar on the 23rd of November 1913. It was a red letter day, not only for Mr. Ethiraj, for the entire Madras High Court. We still worship him. There was an interesting story attached with his enrollment. On the appointed day of his enrollment, Mr. Chenius, in whose office he wanted to join first, could not reach the court in time to book his enrollment since his car broke down. Normally, Mr. Chenius used to carry a bicycle tied down to his car in the dicky of the car, but probably on that fateful day, both the car and the bicycle failed. By the same time, Dr. S. Swaminathan, who was the father of Bhushan Swaminathan, was waiting for his student to turn up, and the student didn't turn up, and it was now left to Dr. Swaminathan to move the enrollment of Mr. Ethiraj, and the rest is history. By slow and steady progress, Mr. Ethiraj reached dizzy heights and then the pinnacle of glory in his legal career. In the year 1920 is witnessed the Moplas rebellion in Kerala, most commonly referred to as the Moplas case, in which there are a number of cases, there are hundreds of cases, which brought name and fame to Mr. Ethiraj. And Mr. Ethiraj did a number of cases. The interesting thing is that in some cases, he was for the prosecution, and in some cases, he was for the accused. There was an English judge by name Jackson, was a trial judge, and later on became the Madras High Court judge. He explained, who is this Ethiraj? He is winning all the cases. If he is for the prosecution, he secures a conviction. If he is for the accused, he secures an acquittal. So that was his greatness. There were a number of sensational cases which he did in his lifetime. The list is endless. But I would say very few cases. One is the Kakinada conspiracy case. Then there was a Mailapuram murder case, a Pollachi perjury case, Suru Subbarao case, it is referred to as a photographer murder case. Then there was a Burlington murder trial in Bombay, where a principal of an institution in Bombay, by name B. La Hay, was murdered by some students in the very same institution. And our beloved founder assisted Dr. Swaminathan, and the case was successful. Another case worth mentioning is the Hanumanthaya contempt case. So Hanumanthaya was the former chief minister of Mysore, and he was instrumental in establishing Vidhan Sauda in Bangalore. So my father assisted. Well, Ethiraj, the Mysore High Court. It was, in those days, it was Mysore High Court. And as far as criminal appeals are concerned, there are thousands and thousands of criminal appeals, and his success rate was incredible. At least 9 out of 10 cases he succeeded in his lifetime. But the first important case that comes to my mind is the sensation of Ramaswami-18th murder case. There is an important anecdote attached to it. So that is what I'm very particular about this case. In that particular case, the first superstar of Tamil film industry, Ethiraj and Kalaivanar N.S. Krishnan were implicated in this case as accused number 3 and 4. When Ramaswami-18th was murdered in a broad daylight in Madras in 1944, in those days there was a jury system, and by a majority verdict of 6-3, both Bhagavathar and N.S. Krishnan and the other accused were convicted and sentenced for transportation of life. In those days there was no life sentence, it was only transportation for life. In the criminal appeal to Madras High Court, Mr. V.T. Ramaswami-18th, that eminent lawyer and the doyen of Madras High Court on the criminal side, he represented Serengeti and Kalaivanar NSK. He put up a splendid performance, but unfortunately, the result, the appeal was dismissed. The conviction and sentence were cut short. In those days, there was no Supreme Court. So one has to file an appeal before the Privy Council in London. In this case also an appeal was filed, and the Privy Council gave an opinion and remitted the matter back to Madras High Court for fresh consideration. But this time, our beloved founder, where Ethiraj appeared for MKT and NSK, and he put up a scintillating performance. The persons who watched their position on the table will be very, very lucky. And ultimately, both Bhagavathar and NSK were set free on 25th of April 1947, a red letter day, in which Adalke Tyagaraja Bhagavathar. It was not all. Mr. Bhagavathar paid a fabulous fee to Mr. Ethiraj, and he also presented him with a golden plate weighing 110 sovereigns. It was very interesting to note that within a few days of hearing this news, the ever watchful and vigilant Income Tax Department slapped a notice on Mr. Ethiraj as to why not be taxed under the provisions of Income Tax Act. But his best friend and the eminent tax lawyer in Subraya defended Ethiraj, and ultimately the notice was quashed. There was an interesting anecdote as far as this case is concerned. There are only 2 copies of the original judgments of this case, which is now available. One is in the Madras High Court Museum, and the other one is in my house, my laptop. You can't find the judgment anywhere. The original judgment we cannot find anywhere, along with the opinion of the Privy Council. There is only one case in India where you can find a judgment in a museum. That's important. Next very sensational case was that the Emmanuel Segaran murder case, involving that iconic figure, Pasupan Mudramalinga Deva. It's very interesting, this case. When Emmanuel Segaran was murdered by some people of the Malabar community, there was a quarrel between the Malabar community people and the Dalits in those days. And the first took place in Mudugudu, Ramanathapuram district. Mr. Ethiraj was appointed as the special prosecutor in this case by the government of Madras, headed by Sri K. Kamaraj. This angered the Malabar community, for they thought this was a clever ploy by Sri K. Kamaraj to finish off Mr. Mudramalinga Deva. They were angered, very much angered. So on the first day of the trial in Madurai, our beloved founder was greeted with sticks, sickles, and other deadly weapons by the Malabar community waiting outside the court hall. For they thought the very appointment of Mr. Ethiraj as a prosecutor was only to give conviction for Mr. Devar. So such was the animosity in those days. Mr. Ethiraj was assisted by A. Sivagaminathan, N. Krishnaswamy Reddy, and of course my father. In the first day of trial, our beloved founder suggested to the Honorable Judge that Mr. Taylor was a very respectable person, was a nationalist leader and a freedom fighter, was also a member of parliament. So I request you to kindly offer a chair for Mr. Taylor to sit. This noble gesture on the part of our beloved founder changed the hearts of Maravar community, and they were now convinced that it would be a free and fair trial. After 3 or 4 weeks, when the trial was shifted to Pudukkottai, our beloved founder submitted before the court that on going through this evidence, there is absolutely nothing against Mr. Devar. He was a prosecutor, remember he was a prosecutor, but he argued for the acquittal of Mr. Devar. Such was his fairness. He was the fairest public prosecutor ever in the country. That's why he used to say, I am a prosecutor, not a persecutor. Another important case, it's very worth mentioning here for some obvious reasons. It was a Hyderabad rebellion case in 1940. It was also a Razakar's case involving the Nizam of Hyderabad, Syed Qasim Razvi. Mr. Ethiraj was engaged as a special prosecutor by the government of India, and he was paid a fabulous fee of 4 lakhs. Can you imagine, rupees 4 lakhs in 1940, the highest fees ever paid to an Indian lawyer in any terms. The trial went on for a number of days, but on one of the occasions, Mr. Ethiraj had a very important matter in Madras High Court, and so a special flight was arranged for him, IAF Dakota. In the words of Mr. Ethiraj, he described the journey as a veritable nightmare. That was the only solitary incident in his life as traveled by flight. He even advised his friends not to travel by flight and to take a train journey instead. This was his schedule. Another case that comes to my mind is also very interesting. It reflects the quality of our beloved founder. There was a sedition case in which Mr. Ethiraj was appointed on a daily fee of rupees 300. He wanted to purchase a good book on the law of sedition. So he went to Egmore, the present Egmore, Ramaswami. On seeing Mr. Ethiraj arriving from the car, the manager received him with warmth and he took him to that particular section where the book was. The book was priced at rupees 15. But since it was a spoiled little bit, the manager requested Mr. Ethiraj to pay rupees 5. Mr. Ethiraj paid rupees 5 and took back the book. Afterwards he said, oh, what a waste of 5 rupees for just one case. There's a good reason behind that. That 4 lakhs, this 5 rupees, everything mattered the most. Otherwise, this institution will not be there. So that is the main reason. There is also another interesting incident. That Mr. Ethiraj was engaged to argue a criminal appeal in Madras High Court. And before the trial court, there were 6 accused. All the 6 were sentenced to death. His grand review, Justice Narayanamurthy, he was the junior counsel on record at that time. He briefed Mr. Ethiraj about this matter. And he was paid, as usual, he was paid a very fabulous fee. Mr. Ethiraj, when the case commenced, argued for just 10 minutes. The relatives of those accused persons were angry. Hey, what is this? We have paid a substantial sum to Mr. Ethiraj. He has not taken the case seriously. And Mr. Narayanamurthy pacified them and told them, please, wait for the judgment, don't jump at conclusions. When the judgment came, all the 6 were acquitted. He just made his way to success. We also argue for many number of days and years before the court, but please don't ask the results. There, on the personal note, there is one incident. One of the juniors of our beloved founder had a very large family to support. Mr. Ethiraj requested him to occupy one of his houses on a monthly nominal rent. And one fine morning, that particular gentleman passed away, leaving behind his widow and a large family. After 3 weeks, Mr. Ethiraj called on the widow and handed over a long, fat cover. The contents were obvious. That lady was virtually crying because she didn't know what to do with that large family. She was also fearing eviction from that house. Mr. Ethiraj told her, not to worry. Already that house has been registered in her name. So saying, he slowly walked towards her car. He didn't have any publicity to any of these matters. But he was not a firm believer in this peaceful charity. So he wanted to do something constructive for the society. And the year was 1944, when Mr. Statham, his best friend, was then the Director of Public Instruction, the present DPA office, which is very close to our institution, suggested to Mr. Ethiraj as to why not he start an educational institution for women. That idea germinated in his mind. This was also supported by his best friend, Subraya. And the year was 1948, July 2nd, as we all know. Ethiraj College for Women was founded and started functioning in the Hobart School in Rayapeta, and later on shifted to the present venue where we are here now. And I'm blessed to be here on this momentous day, 1st of July 51. And more importantly, I'm here on the 75th year of the establishment, that is double great friends. And this road is named as Veer Ethiraj Salai. And we are all proud to walk on this road, aren't we? Mr. Ethiraj had an aristocratic way of life. That is what the external world is concerned. But he was very frugal in his habits and very economical in his spendings. All right. He had a fleet of most expensive cars, the Rolls Royce, the Bentley, the Cadillac, the Desoto, Dodge, Chrysler, and whatnot. The sixth car was always parked in the portico since the garages were always full. One could easily spot Mr. Ethiraj driving his Bentley bearing registration number 1000 at a stately speed of 10 kilometers per hour. At the most, he would ride at 20 kilometers per hour. In the evenings in the marina, enjoying the oceanic breeze. He was a connoisseur of the finest things in life. He loved South Indian filter coffee, which he used to brew and give it to his friends, relatives, and sometimes to the juniors, very lucky juniors there. And he was a connoisseur of classical Carnatic music. Saripuri Ramaswami-18th, they are regular cassette, number 1 Victoria cassette, and they have private concerts. He never used toothbrush. He used only neem twigs and neem toothpaste. And he avoided sweets as poison. It was said that Mr. Ethiraj had a sparkling white teeth till it's lost. Mr. Ethiraj was very tall, handsome, and amazing. He was much more taller in terms of his character, conduct, charismatic charm, the mystic smile. His smile is worth trillions. It was with its smile he captured the hearts of the judges, and his smile is way to success. And with a sense of generosity and the commitment to the society, it's what we witness now, our prestigious institution. He was conferred with the rare distinction of Commander of Indian Empire Sea by His Majesty King George VI. He was also made an honorary member of the Madras High Court Association. And he was gifted with a silver plate and a diamond ring with the name Ethiraj embossed on it. Only 2 other persons received such an honor. One was Motilal Chandragurti, the first Attorney General of India, and second is Sri R. Venkatraman, our former president. And the beloved founder was associated with 2 Rashtrapatis of the country. One is Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, who was his tutor, a monthly fee of ₹10, and another one is Sri R. Venkatraman, who was his chela. He had an astounding memory, and his industry was prodigious. However voluminous the case bundles may be, he could wade through pages, he could wade through hundreds of pages and can put his fingers unerringly on the whole issue. That was his greatness. People may say, Ethiraj is smile his way to success. It is not. Behind the smile, there were hours and days of meticulous preparation that no one knows. In the courtyard, we are arguing for 5 or 10 minutes and get an equivalent is easy. But he was untiring personality. And to my limited knowledge, there are only 3 lawyers in India who contributed their lives, earnings and savings for the cause of education. One is Ramaswami-18th of Calcutta, to P.S. Ramaswami-18th, who established the real Ramaswami-18th Church in Mailapur. And third one is our beloved founder. In the early months of 1960, he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. And as per the medical advice, he proceeded to London on 2nd of May 1960. He left for Bombay by train and from Bombay to London by sea. By the time the carcinoma had advanced and his condition deteriorated, he returned to Madras on 11th of August 1960 and breath is lost on 18th of August 1960. Madam Ethiraj came on the 13th day after his demise. She was here for some time and she narrated some interesting incidents concerning her life with Mr. Ethiraj to my father, because he was taking down the autobiography at that time. But unfortunately, the autobiography could not be completed in his demise. There was a full court reference in Madras High Court, presided over by the then Chief Justice, Mr. B.V. Rajamanna, was his best friend, Justice N. Somasundaram, and Justice K. Veeraswamy. The bench said, Mr. Ethiraj will be remembered as the greatest public prosecutor of all times. Before I conclude, I have to necessarily say a few things about the persons associated with Mr. Ethiraj. Number one is Mr. B.T. Ramaswamy, was a doyen of the Madras Bar on the criminal side, with whom our beloved founder had partnered in the last years of his legal career. He was a thorough gentleman, extraordinary lawyer, and very fortunate that we have been associated with his family for nearly 6 decades. His grandson, Mr. R. Murari, a senior advocate of the Madras High Court, is practicing on the company side. He is also a thorough gentleman and is more than an elder brother to me. Next is Honorable Justice T.S. Arunachalam, who was a junior of Mr. B.T. Ramaswamy-18th and who has also worked with our beloved founder in a number of cases. Had he been alive today, I would have requested our beloved chairperson to have invited him to be the guest of honor for today, but unfortunately, he left us 2 years back. Then there is Mr. P. Sriramalu, senior advocate, who was also a junior of Mr. VTR, was associated with Mr. Ethiraj for a number of years, another thorough gentleman. And of course, Justice K. Narayan Murthy. His son Prashant Murthy was a former trustee of our board and is more than an elder brother to me. So our relationship with the families of Honorable Justice Arunachalam, with Sriramalu, Justice Narayan Murthy, dates back only 6 decades. And finally, a message to the dear students. Dear students, this institution is yours. Our beloved founder has established this institution only for you. Ours is a premier institution which has been consistently placed on the higher pedestal, as evidenced by the rankings issued by the NIR of year after year. We have got all the resources. We have got a fantastic faculty, we have got a wonderful infrastructure, we have got excellent learning environment, and what not. An institution with 96 students in 1948 has gone up leaps and bounds. We now have nearly 8,000 students. We nearly have nearly 3,000 faculty members, 200 supporting staff. We have 30 UG programs. We have 23 postgraduate programs with MBA and MCA approved AAC. We have got 13 MPhil courses and did PhD courses for doctoral studies and whatnot. How was this possible? You made this possible. The trustees made this possible. The successful principals and the alumni and parents made this possible. Competition is getting stiffer and stiffer nowadays. Some few years back, one anxious parent requested me to secure a BCom seat in one of the premier institutions of Ethiraj. At that time, the cutoff marks was 90 and above. His daughter had scored only 89. But he said to me, "Sir, what is this? She is only one mark less at the cutoff. What difference does it going to make?" I told him, "Of course there is difference. Had she scored 90 marks, she would have got admission and would have got to the classrooms to pursue her studies. Since she has scored only 89, she can go at the most to the main gate of the college and not thereafter." So I advised him to, that's for some other institution which he did very rightly. Education is very fast changing. There is an interesting incident relating to Albert Einstein. Mr. Einstein was conducting exams for his students. 15 minutes into the exams, one student stands up and says, "There is absolutely no problem with the question paper, master. But the questions this year are exactly the same as that of the last year." Einstein said, "Is it? Don't worry. The answers are different this year." Why I'm saying is very important. A day will come when there will be more than one correct answer for each question. That is because gone are the days of rote learning. The future belongs to creativity, innovation, and disruption. For instance, I put a simple question to the students here. A mathematics question, very simple question. What is the square root of 100? With 4 options, A 10, B 11, C 12, and D none of the above. Most of the students will definitely pick option A as the right answer. And the first question is correct. But when creative student will take option B, since according to him it's plus or minus 10. So A is not, that is creativity. So another question, integrate 9x cube and calculus. Most of the students will readily come with the answer 27x square and other things. But when creative student will ask this question, all right, integrate 9x cube with respect to what? So that is creativity. So my final message to the students is this. This institution is yours. Each and every penny earned and saved by our beloved founder is transformed into each and every brick and mortar of this institution. He lives here, his soul resides here. And dear students, please always remember the motto of our institution: to strive, to seek, to find, and not to surrender. To strive means to strive for excellence. To seek means to seek knowledge and wisdom. And to find means new opportunities. Not to yield until your goals are accomplished. Dear beloved students, you do one thing. You always raise your aspirations as if it exceeds your targets. Connect the dots, stay paranoid, stay successful. And my last message to students is that worship your teachers on a daily basis. This is my humble request. However high you may reach in a lifetime, but never forget the human values and traditional values. And I sincerely thank once again my beloved friend and chairperson, Chandra Devi Ethiraj, who will definitely represent this decision for giving me an opportunity. I sincerely thank the distinguished guest and invite this year for listening to my speech very patiently. It is inevitable. Thank you. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for recalling the memories of your association with our founder. May I now request Mr. Sridharan, our financial trustee, to highlight on the journey of creation of Ethiraj.
Good afternoon, everyone. ECRIC remained as a dream for many years in our college, but it has become a reality at the most appropriate time as we celebrate and step into the 75th year of the college. I just want to touch upon 4 key things. One is what I call as concept to completion. The second one is the place. Third one is the facilities, and the fourth one is the people who made it possible. ECRIC became a reality because of the conviction by the trust board that we cannot remain a top-class academic institution without focus on research. This conviction was pushed by our principal, who herself is a great research scientist, and then our 2 vice principals here. And I must place here my gratitude to Dr. Saranya, Dr. Krishna Prema, the previous deans of research, and Dr. Uma Gauri and Dr. Hilda Stanley, who continue to push us into saying ECRIC is very essential for this institution. It would not have been possible but for this was a completely unanimous decision to go for ECRIC, irrespective of the cost. And that was possible because we have a number of academicians in our board, such as Professor Dr. Shekhar, Dr. Murugan, and it is so fitting that Professor Dr. Murugan became the Dean of Research for the Madras University very recently. And people like Dr. Vittal and Dr. Kripa Shankar, and obviously the leader, the chairperson, was very clear in her mind that we need ECRIC at any cost. Very quickly, I want to touch upon the place itself. ECRIC is going to have an instrumentation lab, a library, deans of research offices, seats for research scholars, a conference hall, the entrepreneur cell, and just 1 floor above is going to be the auditorium for holding all of your research-related programs. And from a facilities point of view, ECRIC will be the one that will be leading into the students' research individually, collectively, and then research by faculty, supporting and promoting publications of articles by our faculty for conferences, seminars, and for other studies. Not the least is to mention about a very proud moment for the college is when Catalyst, our exclusive research publication, was published recently. I must take this opportunity here to thank the people responsible for bringing ECRIC into an absolutely wonderful global type facility here. And thank you, Mr. Yadav, our architect here. And then our owner's representative and the project management consultant, Mr. N.S. Shankar, supported by his team of Bhupati and Sachidanandan. And not to forget our admin officer, Mr. Bhaskar, who was there almost every day there to make sure that you get the best of the facilities. And Mr. Shyam Sundar and Raghunath, 2 highly experienced people who helped us, held our hands as we proceeded. And not but the least, Manikam and Company, our contractors, the partners like Mr. Palani and Mr. Nagarajan took personal interest in making sure that every single centimeter of this building became one of the best facilities available in our college. And I also want to thank Ramaswami, our site engineer, who is putting his heart and soul into this. As we stand here, watching the dream becoming a reality, ECRIC is all yours, and we expect that research activities in this college will take a greater leap in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you for close and welcome decade, sir. I request Thiru B.M. Murugan, former chairman, Ethiraj College Trust, to offer his felicitations.
A very good morning to all of you. It's indeed always a moment of gratitude at this point of the year, July 18th, which normally is the first function for the college and our beloved founders' birth anniversary. This is more to thank the guests of honor, the chief guest, Padma Bhushan, Mr. Dr. P. Ramaswamy, and Mr. Ramaswami-18th. In fact, I felt a couple of things to say that when Professor Ramaswamy was talking about innovation by our founder, in fact, I always feel that how he dreamt of this investment right through his life and said that this is what I will do. But yes, Dr. Ramaswamy said that there was no return expected out of this. It is not that Mr. Ethiraj was expecting any return, but I feel very differently. I felt that he was extremely selfish. I felt that he wanted returns. He made the investment all right. It was like a startup. Didn't know anything else except the hope that Professor was talking about. But the hope is that it's in all of you. Today, the return is not to the founder, the return is not to the board. In fact, when Mr. Sridhar was talking about now, he said we are investing without a boundary to see to it that our research scales. The thing is, essentially in today's context, all that investment is when all, in fact, normally in startup terms, we say how we invest and then we create market value. The market value is in all of you. The lakhs of students who have gone out of this portal, the alumni who have been very successful in life and made probably outstanding careers, outstanding citizens who have excelled in their life, in their families, created fantastic families, fantastic organizations. There are people who have excelled, who have gone out of this portal and excelled phenomenally well. That's a great return. I think we'll be paying our gratitude to the founder when all of us do very well in life. And that is what I feel is the return that's expected from this institution. And even today, I should say, the boards, all the boards, right through from that day to the 74 years, have been investing in this institution as a non-profit entity, just looking at the return of our students doing very well. I think that's what I would say today. And thank you so much for the both of you for coming here and really enthralling the audience with your words and making everybody understand. In fact, Mr. Pichai brought in many memories about Mr. Ethiraj, and all of them would have definitely inspired you. The way he was fair, that's an extremely important statement. Normally we feel that lawyers are always winners all the way, but winners can be winners as long as they meet their objectives, which is to be fair and which is to get the right judgment on every case. I think a lot of learnings today. Thank you both very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. M. Shekhar, member, Ethiraj College Trust, to present the memento to the chief guest, Padma Bhushan Dr. T. Ramaswamy, and to the guest of honor, Sir Madhavan picture, as a mark of our gratitude. Thank you, sir. I request our principal, Dr. S. Godai, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all present. The best and the most important things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. I quote and unquote Helen Keller. Respected Chief Guest, Padma Bhushan Dr. T. Ramaswamy, former Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology, Distinguished Professor of Eminence, ACTech Campus, Anna University, the guest of honor, Thiru Madhavan Sir, Senior Advocate, Madras High Court, our esteemed chairperson, Srimati Chandradevi Tanigachalam Madam, Financial Trustee, Thiru S. Sridharan, members of the board, Professor S. Peter Sir, Professor Dr. M. Segar Sir, Dr. D. Kripashankar Sir, and our university representative for the past 3 years, Professor E. Murugan Sir, and the present university representative, Professor Rita John Madam, former chairman, Thiru V. A. Muralidharan Sir, Mrs. Kalpana Muralidharan Madam, former board of trustees, vice principals, Dr. D.B. Usha Gandhi and Dr. T. Usha Priya, former principals, Dr. Jyoti Ma'am, Dr. Nirmala Ma'am, former vice principals, retired faculty, members of the fraternity club, officials from the Department of Higher Education, special invitees, well-wishers, parents, faculty members, alumni, media persons, and all the participants, and my dear, darling, sparkling students. I feel privileged to put forth a vote of thanks as we remember the illustrious past of the inception of our esteemed institution, Ethiraj College for Women, and express our gratitude to our founder, Thiru V.N. Ethiraj, on his 132nd birth anniversary and 75th year of celebration of Ethiraj College for Women. We express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed chief guest for accepting our invitation to deliver CBL Ethiraj Endowment Lecture. The Endowment Lecture appreciates the selfless work of our dear founder, CBL Ethiraj, whose lofty goals of educating women in 1948 itself. This has flourished into a prestigious institution with competitive international standards. We appreciate your valued presence, sir, inspiring comments, energetic string of ideas on the innovation and technology, and for inaugurating EGRIC in commemoration of the 75th Jubilee year of our esteemed institution, Ethiraj College for Women. Thank you very much, sir. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Madhavan Pichai, sir, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, for recalling the fond memories of our founder and listing out all the cases We remembered a few, we forgot a few, everything was listed out today. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and my heartfelt thanks to all of you. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our chairperson, Srimati Chandradevi Tanigachalam Madam. Today morning, she said, I am with you. Even though I am not in the campus, I am always with you. Those words has taken us to a different level. Thank you, Madam. Financial Trustee, Thiru S. Sridharan sir, members of the board, Professor S. Patel sir, Professor Dr. N. Shekhar sir, Dr. D. Kripashankar sir, Professor Murugan sir, Professor Rita John Madam, for their sustained support and great interest. I extend my profound thanks to all the former chairpersons, chairmen, Thiru Muralidharan sir, former financial trustees and members of the board, former principals, vice principals, retired teachers, non-teaching faculty who worked tirelessly to help this institution to expand, to demonstrate everything to the society. Thank you for your support and goodwill in the process. I express my thanks to the vice principals, Dr. D. Bhushan and Dr. T. Usha Priya, for their unwavering support. I am grateful to the Dean of Academics, Deans of Research, Deans of Students, Controller of Examination, Director of Women's Studies, heads of the departments, faculty members, my lovable sisters, for their generosity and support. I am grateful to the singing stars of our college, guided by Dr. Sudha Parimala and Dr. Srividya of the Fine Arts Club, for their captivating performance of some of our founders' favorite tunes. I would like to express my gratitude to all the participants, well-wishers, special invitees for attending this event and accepting our invitation immediately. I wholeheartedly acknowledge the dedicated efforts and tireless service rendered by the supporting staff of our institution. I am grateful to our beloved alumni for their love and adoration for our alma mater and for spreading the academic standards and disciplines the institution instilled in us for all walks of life. I admire and congratulate all the students and union members for demonstrating their subjective and cognitive abilities as well as their intrinsic potential. I am grateful to the parents for their immediate cooperation and affiliation with the institution through their works. My appreciation and thanks to the PG Department of Journalism and our technical team headed by Geeta Mohan Madam for the audiovisual presentation. I must express my gratitude to the members of the technical team for meticulously overseeing this event. I sincerely thank my dear faculties, councils, secretaries, staff secretaries, the hospitality team for their meticulous planning and teamwork. May this historic institution rise to greater heights with the blessings of God Almighty and our revered founder, Sri V.L. Ethiraj, spreading its lofty ideals, demonstrating fortitude in difficult times as it always does, and succeeding in all domains. Seeking the blessings of our founder, Sri V.L. Ethiraj, and God Almighty, I thank you all once again. Thank you very much. Thank you, students. It is our great academic year starting day, reopening day. We are really blessed in our Founders' Day to have a good start. Thank you very much, teachers and students. Thank you all and all. Thank you all and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the warm words of appreciation. We shall now close the celebration with a college song followed by the national anthem.
சாதி சமய மொழியில் இல்லை தெரிந்திட்டோம். உயர்வை நாடும் உள்ளவே உயர்ந்த நெஞ்சு போற்றுவோம். உயர்ந்து என்ற வானை போல ஓங்கும் கல்வி ஞானத்தில் முயன்று தேடி காணவே உன்னைத்த கால்வி தாங்கினோம். ஏறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம். உடல் உழைப்பும் உள்ள பறிவும் ஓங்கும் செல்வ நிதியமும் படித்திருந்த வெள்ளம் போல மனமும் வந்து நல்கினார். அறிவியலும் பலகலையும் பயிலுவோம். நாட்டினிலே அருமை காக்க நல்லொழுக்கம் போடுவோம். நீதியிலே கற்ற கல்வி என்றும் எங்கள் நெஞ்சில் மூன்று தெய்வ பக்தியோடு தேச பக்தி ஓங்கவே ஏறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம். அழுது தெய்வ தீபமாக ஒளிரும் கல்வி சுடரில் முயன்று தேடி காணவே வைத்த கால்வி தாங்கினோம். முயன்று தேடி காணவே வைத்த கால்வி தாங்கினோம். முயன்று தேடி காணவே வைத்த கால்வி தாங்கினோம். ஏறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம், என்றுமே முன்னேறுவோம். எங்கள் எதிராஜ் கல்லூரி ஏற்றம் ஆடி தேடுவோம். ஏறுவோம், ஏறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம். ஏறுவோம், ஏறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம். ஏறுவோம், ஏறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம். ஏறுவோம், ஏறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம், முன்னேறுவோம்.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तब शुभ नामे जाहे तब शुभ आशीष माहे। गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल